Good day, beautiful people, and all my wonderful fans out there. Welcome back to Life Treasures and Golden Moments. This is Natalie Silva, and it is also the month of December. So this month, I'd like to share with you several short stories that you can listen to in your downtime when you're all cuddled up with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and just have some time to listen and enjoy the stories that will comfort you and touch your heart. The first story I'd like to share with you today is called The Little Match Girl, and the author was Hans Christian Andersen. And I believe a lot of you have heard this story before, but I thought it was appropriate for this time of year. To feel another's anguish, this is the essence of compassion. Here is a Hans Christian Andersen masterpiece, a simple, tragic story that stirs pity in every child's heart. It was dreadfully cold. It was snowing fast, and was almost dark. As evening came on, the last evening of the year, in the cold and darkness, there went along the street a poor little girl, bareheaded and with naked feet. When she left home, she had slippers on, it is true, but they were much too large for her feet, slippers that her mother had used till then. And the poor little girl lost them in running across the street when two carriages were passing terribly fast. When she looked for them, one was not to be found, and the boy seized the other and ran away with it, saying he would use it for a cradle some day when he had children of his own. So on the little girl went with her bare feet. They were red and blue with cold. In an old apron that she wore were bundles of matches, and she carried a bundle also in her hand. No one had bought so much as a bunch all that long day, and no one had given her even a penny. Poor little girl, shivering with cold and hunger, she crept along, a perfect picture of misery. The snowflakes fell on her long flaxen hair, which hung in pretty curls about her throat. But she thought not of her beauty, nor of the cold. Lights gleamed in every window, and there came to her the savory smell of roast goose, for it was New Year's Eve, and it was this of which she thought. In a corner farm by two houses, one of which projected beyond the other, she sat cowering down. She had drawn under her little feet, but soon she grew colder and colder. Yet she dared not to go home, for she had sold no matches and could not bring a penny of money. Her father would certainly beat her, and besides it was cold enough at home, for they had only the house roof above them. And though the largest holes had been stopped with straw and rags, there were left many through which the cold wind could whistle. And now her little hands were nearly frozen with cold. Alas! A single match might do her good if she might only draw it from the bundle, rub it against the wall, and warm her fingers by it. So at last she drew one out. Whoosh! How it blazed and burned. It gave out a warm, bright flame like a little candle as she held her hands over it. A wonderful light it was. It was really seemed to the little girl as if she sat before a great iron stove with polished brass feet and brass shovel and tongs. So blessedly it burned that the little maiden stretched out her feet to warm them also. How comfortable she was! But lo, the flame went out. The stove vanished, and nothing remained but the little burned match in her hand. She rubbed another match against the wall. It burned brightly, and where the light fell upon the wall it became transparent like a veil, so that she could see through it into the room. A snow-white cloth was spread upon the table, one which was a beautiful china dinner service, while a roast goose stuffed with apples and prunes steamed famously and set forth a most savory smell. What was more delightful still and wonderful, the goose jumped from the dish with knife and fork still in its breast, and waddled along the floor straight to the little girl. But the match went out then, and nothing was left to her but the thick, damp wall. She lighted another match, and now she was under a most beautiful Christmas tree, larger and farther more prettily trimmed than the one she had seen through the glass door. at the rich merchants. Hundreds of wax tapers were burning on the green branches, and gay figures such as she had seen in shop windows looked down upon her. The child stretched out her hands to them. Then the match went out. Still the lights of the Christmas tree rose higher and higher. She saw them now as stars in heaven, and one of them fell, forming a long trail of fire. "Now someone is dying," murmured the child softly. For her grandmother, the only person who had loved her, and who was now dead, she had told her that whenever a star falls, a soul mounts up to God. She struck yet another match against the wall, and again it was light, and in the brightness there appeared before her the dear old grandmother, bright and radiant, yet sweet and mild, and happy as she had never looked on earth. "Oh, grandmother," cried the child, "take me with you. I know you will go away when the match burns out. You too will vanish, like the warm stove, the splendid New Year's Eve feast, the beautiful Christmas tree." And lest her grandmother should disappear, she rubbed the whole bundle of matches against the wall, and the matches burned with such brilliant light that it became brighter that noonday. Her grandmother had never looked so grand and so beautiful. She took the little girl in her arms, and both flew together, joyously and gloriously, mounting higher and higher, far above the earth. And for them there was neither hunger, nor cold, nor care. They were with God. But in the corner, at the dawn of day, sat the poor little girl, leaning against the wall, with red cheeks and smiling mouth, frozen to death in the last evening of the old year. Stiff and cold she sat, with the matches, one bundle of which was burned. She wanted to warm herself, poor little thing, people said. No one imagined what sweet visions she had, or how gloriously she had gone with her grandmother to enter upon the joys of a new year. This next story I'd like to share with you was authored by Zibby Davidson, and the title of it is called A Simple Assignment. This story isn't really about me, and it really isn't about Christmas either, but it's about a little Christmas tree ornament I made. It began with an assignment I had given my 7th grade English class, requiring them to explain a process. Doug, one of my students, took some jostling for his project, demonstrating how to make ribbon and lace angel ornaments. But they were exquisite. An avid angel collector myself, I made them for Christmas gifts that year. Sometime later, my friend Pat was asked to lead a retreat for our church. I couldn't attend the retreat, but I volunteered to make gifts for the closing party. With Doug's instructions by my side, I fashioned 65 angels of satin ribbon, decorated pearls, and silk rosebuds to be given out as lapel pins. I learned later that one of the participants, Kathleen Murphy, got home that evening to find her son was very sick. She rushed him to the hospital. The doctor said he would be fine, but in the next room there was a critically ill baby who was not expected to live through the night. The baby's mother, who had to go arrange for a babysitter for her other child, asked if Kathleen would keep an eye on her infant. And Kathleen, who had not even had time to change clothes, removed the angel ornament from her lapel and had it on a mobile above the crib. Later that night, when the baby's mother saw the angel dangling over the crib, something awoke in her. Though she was not a religious woman, she was moved to pray for her child. In the morning, she and the doctors were amazed. The baby had pulled through, and the young mother left the hospital with new faith in God's power and love. So as I said, this story isn't about me. It's about how a classroom assignment became a part of a child's miraculous recovery, about the mysterious and wondrous link that connects us all in God's plan. This time, with the help of a tiny Christmas tree angel, I saw my small part in that great plan. This story that I'm going to share with you now was authored by Connie Wilcox and is called Christmas Miracles. All month long, I've been saying it's time for miracles. The holiday season always brings surprises and generosity and joy. Working at Lamont's transitional housing facility called The Inn, I have witnessed these miracles for years. Anonymous donors and community support miraculously appear to help the Inn's many residents. I have the honor of watching people's tears of joy and relief when something they are in need of appears. I see their gratefulness for the help and the instant renewal in their spirit. Donna Lovato, the Inn's executive director, attributes it to the Inn's angels. When a tenant needs something, Donna just asks the angels to bring it to the Inn. Within a few days, sometimes sooner, it appears. I'm fortunate to work in a place where I get to see miracles happen every day. Last week, one of the largest miracles I'd ever seen occurred at the Inn. One of the residents was in desperate need of $1,000 to get her car fixed. She was very distraught over the high repair quote. An anonymous donor appeared at our door wanting to donate money for the specific tenant. We graciously accepted the donation and worked quickly to pass it on to the tenant. The tenant was called to the office where we presented her with a check for $1,000. She was shocked, amazed, grateful, shaking, and full of tears. By the time she left, the entire staff was in tears as well. This year, I not only witnessed a great miracle, I experienced one firsthand. My family had been struggling financially. For the past several months, the bills have exceeded our income to the point where buying groceries was a luxury. My husband and I both work and run a retail internet business on evenings and weekends. We both have been putting in long days trying to keep up with the increasing cost of survival. I am stubborn, proud, and self-sufficient. I have always worked and done whatever it took to keep my family going. We don't live extravagantly, but we are happy with what we have. Our house is 1,000 square feet. Our newest car is 12 years old, and our cell phones don't take pictures. I thought I felt gratitude for the things I do have, but I realized that I had no idea what being grateful really felt like. When my neighbor Judy asked the innocent question, "Do you have all your holiday shopping done?" I laughed and said, "Well, maybe I can buy groceries out of my next check. Then Christmas presents are the one after that." We continued our conversation about our health, stress, and kids, and I didn't give it another thought until today. Her son came by our house to drop off Christmas cards. I opened the card, and 2 grocery store gift cards tumbled onto the floor. I picked them up thinking, "Oh, how sweet." Then I saw that they were in the amount of $500 each. I started crying and shaking and saying, "Oh, thank God," over and over. I didn't know what to do. I think I had a mini panic attack after that. I tried calling her immediately to tell her that I couldn't possibly accept such a large gift. She wasn't home. I tried to think of what to say to her. While my thoughts were reeling, it occurred to me that my own miracle had just occurred. Last week, while I was working at the inn, I had asked the angels for a Christmas miracle. I knew that I would need one to make it through the holidays. I did get to talk with Judy a little later. She explained that she had experienced a similar situation and that someone had helped her out. Her family had a really prosperous year, and they wanted to share it with others. Still overwhelmed, I'm feeling better about accepting this gift. I have been crying all afternoon, feeling humble, relieved, and grateful. This experience has shown me that the pay it forward idea really can work. I never thought I would be in a position where I would have to rely on someone else to make it. It is a new and eye-opening experience to be on the same side as those I work to help every day. I thought I understood what they were going through, when I really had no idea. What an enlightening experience. It made me realize that if it happened to me, it could happen to any one of us. During the 5 years I have worked at the inn, I have always said that most people that are just one paycheck away from needing to live there. Today I realize just how truthful that statement is. I will never forget the feeling I have today. This experience has made a deep imprint on my soul that will not be forgotten. I will remember to share when I can, and to think of how much impact you can have by helping others. I thank Judy and Terry for their generous spirit, and hope that they realize how thankful I am. Their generosity not only makes an enormous difference in my life today, but for many years to come. I give thanks to the Inn's angels for bringing me a Christmas miracle. Well, my dear friends, my listeners, that's it for today. I'll be back before the month's over to share a couple more stories with you to close out the holiday season. And I want to wish you all a blessed day, a blessed week, a blessed year. And to say thank you to all of our authors today. And until then, take care and may God bless. This is Natalie Silva with Life Treasures and Golden Moments.